Labor Senator Fatima Payman. She's now part of a very dangerous shift in our politics. It's this new tribalism that's going to set Australians against each other like never before. In fact, it's moves to create a new Muslim political party. You just think how that would tear us apart. Now, Payman looks sweet and innocent, but she's a 29-year-old Afghan refugee that Labor picked to seem more diverse, playing this old identity politics, new identity politics. Except now it's all blown up in their face because she's threatening to quit Labor now that she's been elected safely for the next 6 years or 5 to go. She's been suspended by Labor for the moment for refusing to follow Labor's stance on Palestine. She's instead voted with the Greens to immediately recognise a Palestinian state, even though Palestine right now is ruled by Islamist terrorists and extremists who are very grateful for that kind of recognition. But it's worse than that, I'm afraid. Payman has now been taken up as a cause by the big Islamist groups here, as a martyr. She's proof that the main Australian political parties are anti-Muslim. In fact, she's being used as a recruiting tool by a new group called the Muslim Vote, headed by a prominent and largely respected Sydney Imam, Sheikh Wessam Chakawi, who's been attacking Labor leaders and politicians that he reckons are too soft on Israel and not good enough on Muslims.
How can anyone ever support you again, or all those ministers who heeded your call and remained silent?
Now, his group says it's now open to working with Payman in running a Teal-style campaign to get Muslim activists into Parliament, a campaign that could radically change Australia. It's called already for candidates, and some Labor MPs now worry that Payman is going to quit Labor and join this campaign, or at least set herself up in a similar fashion herself, the Muslim candidate, the Muslim politician. Now, that's why she hasn't been expelled by Labor already for voting against the party. That's actually always been the rule. You rat on Labor and you're out. You know that. Plenty of people have paid the price, but not Payman, because Labor is terrified of not just offending the Muslim vote. I mean, one politician said, how can we sack a woman in a hijab? But anyway, worse is that they would provoke the creation of this new Muslim party. And that is a particular danger for Labor because of the maths. Think, we have 151 seats in Parliament in the lower house. 29 of them, a fifth, already have 5% or more of people of the Islamic faith. With immigration going the way it is, that's going to go up. And of those 29 seats with big Muslim minorities, 27 are held by Labor. And they include the New South Wales seat of Blackstone, held by Education Minister Jason Clare. That is 32% Muslim. That's a hell of a vote there. Or Watson, held by Employment Minister Tony Burke, 23% Muslim. Could change the seat. And boy, are those two Labor guys in the Muslim gun, as are many other Labor MPs. Now, Labor opened the immigration doors very wide and got the votes all right for now, except now it's getting the heat that it's not doing enough for Muslims. Bit of karma there. Unfortunately, it's also bad news for Australia. Now, we already are seeing not just the menacing protests outside Labor MPs' offices, like this one outside Peter Khalil's, or the vandalism of the office of Josh Burns by people unknown. For all I know, they're not Muslim. They could be just, socialist left nutters. But this new movement, the Muslim Vote, is also listing these Labor MPs, predominantly Labor MPs, and rating them on their website for the support of Palestinians. And very few get a pass. Not Tony Burke or Jason Clare for a start. And the Lebanese Muslim Association, well, that isn't part of the Muslim Vote, but it is very much behind it, and especially because it hopes that way our policy to Israel will change. Our policy to a democracy now fighting Islamist extremists in Gaza will change.
The sole focus of our community is the genocide and the atrocities taking place in Gaza right now. For decades, we were criticised for not integrating within the Australian community. Now, this second and third generation Australians, Muslims of Muslim descent, have learnt that they do have an electoral voice. What I am for is for this community is exercising that electoral voice, and when the two parties no longer reflect the concerns of our community, then this community has a right to exercise it in any way it deems fit within the political and the electoral process.
Well, frankly, I'm not quite sure that the answer to complaints that you haven't integrated is setting up a Muslim-only party. How does that work? But anyway, not surprisingly, former Labor leader Bill Shorten is dead against it.
Religious-based parties, I think, are not a great idea. I don't reckon that's a great development, because what this country needs is more us working together.
But it's not just Labor that should be alarmed, we all should be, because a Muslim party, really, as if mainstream parties aren't good enough for Muslims. A Muslim party that reduces national issues into, hey, what's in it for Muslims? How does any of that help Muslim integration or our unity? How does it protect our values? And what response would a Muslim party provoke? I mean, you can already see it. What, a hardline white nationalist party, perhaps, for the white person, for the Christian? I mean, great. A Jewish party, a Hindu party, all of these ethnic parties stressing what divides us and not unites, all of them acting like victims. What's in it for me? And bringing in their foreign conflicts. Just like this British politician, who this year won his seat on the Leeds Council.
It's a win for the people of Gaza. We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar.
And that's coming here. We are at a very dangerous point where the new identity politics is becoming very, very much more political. And that will change Australia for the ugly worse.